The radio show that is now a video show.
Loosey Goosey Chime Time. Welcome to our Loosey Goosey Air Radio Show. Big Daddy Russ Horton. I'm Lee Lakin with Leah Lywood behind the camera. And we've got some great trivia today for you. Yeah. I love this Leah trivia stuff. It's
the heart and soul of the show, really.
Pretty much.
We'd like to say hello to all of our friends around the world. Hello to Nottingham Forest fans around the world, too.
Yeah.
Of course, next week is the big Newcastle. We're playing away at Newcastle next week. So anyway,
it's our first game, isn't it?
Yeah, first game in the Premier League, right. And we're doing a little sing-along around the world. We'll tell you about that a little bit later in the show. But and of course, we're brought to you by Destination Ontario, which is the Ontario website for Ontario tourism.
Yeah.
And there's so many things to do and see in Ontario, Toronto, Niagara Falls.
Everybody be traveling this weekend. We've got the big long weekend here. It's a civic long weekend here in Ontario, and going to be doing a lot of traveling this weekend.
So we're brought to you by Canadian Tourism every week because this video goes across the world, across the globe.
Come visit Canada.
And come and visit Canada. And we always tell you that, and we show you why we want you to come and see us, because there's so many wonderful things here. Now, I'll go through the news briefly. Here, the U.S. and Chinese leaders have warned each other over Taiwan during a phone call that lasted more than a couple hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are those two going to talk about for 2 hours?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The baseball scores? 2 hours.
Mind you, the Chinese have a serious baseball league over there, so could be baseball.
Probably
never
did.
know.
Right. It makes you wonder what they do discuss these world leaders when they're on the phone with each other that we don't hear.
Exactly.
You know?
How's the wife? How's the kids?
How you doing? How's everything going? By the way,
we're going to invade your country.
Sprite. Hey, Sprite's trading its
familiar
green plastic bottle design for an even greener bottle, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
One that supports the circular economy, according to a statement from Coca-Cola.
So they're going to a clear bottle.
Yeah, since 1963 was the very first Sprite. And it's always been green, in my mind, just like the Queen's always been the Queen. Sprite's been green.
7-Up, same thing.
7-Up.
Been green.
Yes, same thing. And but they're to help the circular economy, they're changing the color. Pope Francis denouncing evil of sexual abuse during service in Quebec City. Of course, the Pope is across Canada right now.
He's heading to Nunavut, I believe.
Yeah, Nunavut. And sadly, Tony Dow, an actor and director best known for portraying Wally Cleaver on the sitcom Leave It to Beaver. He died on Wednesday morning, according to his manager, Frank Bellata, citing Dow's son, Christopher. He was 77.
Oh, okay.
And Leah and I were talking on Facebook.
I thought he was in his 80s, but...
No.
I
always think of Tony Dow as a young kid.
He still was a good-looking man.
He was.
At the end, he was still a good-looking guy.
Oh, yeah. Hadn't changed really a lot, really.
Just got gray or white.
Yeah. I'm mistaken for him in the mall all the time. It's just incredible for Tony Dow.
I want to know what color the sky is.
You don't have enough hair.
Well, I want to know what color the sky is in his world.
Yeah.
The one that was in his 80s that I was thinking of was also another celebrity death this week. Paul Cervano died, known from Goodfellas, Law & Order, dies at the age of 83, and I loved him in Law & Order, and of course Goodfellas,
He was such a great Italian tough guy.
Oh, God, yeah, and the amount of shows and movies he was in was just absolutely incredible, so I did love him. This is a story I hate to talk about, but we do got to bring it up. Sport Canada knew of Team Canada's sexual assault allegations in the 2018 Ukraine war. Russia or allegations in 2018 when the under 18 were in their tournament. There was something going on, and now it's coming to light, and it's sad to say a lot of money was paid out, for hush money was paid out as well. So very interesting story going on there. And quickly on the Ukraine war, Russia waging a gas war with Nord Stream, and WHO declares monkeypox a global emergency, and Canada confirms 681 cases. And I hear San Francisco has actually declared a state of emergency for the amount of monkeypox in there going on. So
when WHO does that, which is the World Health Organization, you gotta open your eyes and say, wow.
And, it's you got to pay attention. It's It doesn't sound like a lot of cases in Canada, but if the number keeps going up,
I wish they would have named it something else. I think it's a horrible name, monkeypox. It's like, yeah, we're going to start swinging from trees any day now. Is that one of the symptoms? Don't understand that. But anyway, I'm not very knowledgeable about monkeypox, so I wouldn't know.
And I don't think any of us really are.
And I don't care to be either. Thank you very much. It's I'm good where we are. So
yeah, we have enough with COVID to put up with now monkeypox.
Absolutely. I'm gonna let you take this one.
This is a fascinating story, and
we get into Leah's trivia. So
Leah spends hours digging for trivia every week on social media and on the show. 1987, this week in 1987. I have to listen carefully to this, folks.
Right. This is a bit of a story. So
Ozzy Osbourne performs Jailhouse Rock at Wormwood Scrubs Prison in London, England. It's getting strange already, isn't it, folks?
Yes.
He said it's his last good memory of the 80s. Before the show, Ozzy is treated to tea. During the course of his conversation with the tea maker, it is revealed that the man in prison is there because he poisoned 8 people to death. Spiking the tea.
Yeah.
Well, of course, this upset Ozzy, so Ozzy shoots tea out of his nose and nearly throws his mug against the wall. And the Scrubs, a band composed of prison guards and prisoners alike, open for Ozzy.
Oh, wow.
What a bizarre night.
This is crazy.
The bass player is the perpetrator of one of the biggest mass killings in British history, having burned 37 people to death in a Soho nightclub. The guitarist is in Wormwood for beating a drug dealer to death. The smell of weed is so heavy in the air that it reminds Ozzy of a Jamaican wedding. There is a bar outside the door serving drinks to some of the guards, and Ozzy looks in the crowd and sees Jeremy Bamber, who murdered his entire family and tried to pin it all on his mentally ill sister, of course. It's getting strange, isn't it?
Man, it's just not stopping.
Ozzy recognizes the old Bambinator from tabloid photos, and the show culminates with Ozzy and his band performing Jailhouse Rock with the Scrubs. And during the song, the crowd storms the stage. The invasion is led by a man who tried to cut the head off of a constable during the infamous Broadwater Farm riot. And Ozzy and his band escape unscathed, of course. Later in his book, I Am Ozzy, Ozzy recalls the incident as the last good memory of the 80s.
How do you forget a night like that?
How do you follow a story like that?
It's not funny, but it is.
It is.
But it's really not funny.
Probably scary as hell for these guys. They're
How
all
the
freaking
hell
out.
did he organize something like that or even agree to it?
Apparently, he didn't research before booking.
Whoever his promoter was probably got fired.
I would imagine that.
That is crazy.
I don't know, this is pretty crazy. So.
Well, that's it. It is
But
Ozzy
you gotta love
Osbourne.
Ozzy. I love Ozzy.
Oh God, yeah. I've always loved Ozzy.
I just want to hug the guy.
Him and his wife.
Sharon! Sharon!
Where's my toothbrush?
The fucking car's talking to me, Sharon! I can get away with that because Ozzy said it. And we're not governed by any body that says that we can't swear. Sometimes it'll slip, and we don't care.
Well, and it's a true statement.
It's true.
It's a
That's
true
exactly what he said. Did you hear what he said to the Queen? Never mind.
No. Let's
But
leave.
you can imagine, right?
Yeah, let's leave that one alone. Keeping going with more Leah's trivia. The Summer Jam concert takes place at Watkins Glen Racetrack in New York, outdrawing Woodstock with a crowd of over 600,000 people. The Grateful Dead, the Allman Brothers, and the band play to a massive crowd who paid $10 a ticket, so do the math.
Can you imagine? $10.
If they bought one at 600,000 people, so yeah, just imagine the numbers on that.
But not all paid.
Well, that's it.
No, a lot of people got in.
But still, even if they sold at that time 600,000 or 60,000 tickets out of
Can you imagine
600,000
playing to 60,000 people?
And those bands. The
They
were big names. Like there was no way.
Allman
$10
Brothers,
for all of them.
Exactly.
The Allman Brothers, the Grateful Dead, and the band.
Exactly.
Of course, which you know a lot of their music, playing with Crazy Chester.
We're bands named after one of their songs.
That's right. Crazy Chester. That's from The Wait.
The Wait.
Yeah, great song.
Which
This week
we
in
play.
1940, Billboard issues its first chart dealing what records are selling the most copies, of course. And titled National List of Best-Selling Retail Records. It's a precursor to the Hot 100 and the first to count record sales. The existing charts are for sheet music sales, jukebox play, and radio plugs. It's not an exact science, as Billboard poll records show, to find out what is selling in practice, and that stays in effect until the 90s, actually, when Call a Clerk is replaced with SoundScan technology. But they used to go, radio stations charts went by basically the listener's requests.
Really? Yeah.
On the phone. I think that's how Chum did it. And record sales, of course, as well, from Sam the Record Man and everything else. But, on the Big 20, when we put our new music show together, there's not one Chum chart you can go to anymore.
No,
and there's not, because the Hot 100 is very geared to the younger sound of hip hop, and you can go to the AC chart, I guess, on Billboard, but basically there isn't a radio station chart you can go to anymore. We used to be able to go to the Chum chart and say, look.
So many more new genres as well as we expand, because you've got hip hop and R&B and rock and country, and there's just so many genres now that, like you said, you've got to go source here and you got to go source there. And
what our new show, just getting off the beaten track, the Big 20. I'm the music producer or the director of what gets played, along with Bill Smith, who helps me a lot with a lot of the pop stuff.
Right.
But I decide on the new rock stuff I like. But I have to go to different places to find it.
Yeah.
You don't find it, like I say, on one chart anymore. So, but it's geared to people our age that listen to music now.
Yeah.
That don't give the new music a chance because we think, it's the new music.
Right.
There's a lot of great stuff out there. You just have to uncover it with some rocks, right?
And even, check out your local area and your local bands, because you might find something that really rocks your world. So
you don't listen to rock and roll in the car, do you?
I listen to a lot of stuff in the car. I'm all over the place. Like my
What happened this weekend? 1958.
Oh, what about 1984?
Was it? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm trying
you're
to be
right. I
smart
didn't
ass.
see that one, but 58 I missed. I skipped over that one.
Esso,
Esso,
Couldn't
formerly
believe this.
Standard Oil, later Exxon, issues a report warning that listening to rock music in the car could waste gas because the rhythm can cause the driver to unconsciously jiggle the gas pedal.
I've never done that in my
Never.
life.
If nothing else, I've just flattened it.
I was going to say, there's no jiggling. It just goes.
I just flattened it. What are you talking
Something,
about?
I was talking about Refugee by Tom Petty as being one of my all-time favorite songs. Just the beginning of that song will jump up the speedo just a slight bit.
I was dancing all over the place on the way here
No,
today. In the car.
they got that all wrong. Yeah, they're right. Yeah, waste gas because you're putting the lead out. That's why you're putting
If you
the
had to
lead
pick
down.
one cartoon, let's see. I know right away. All Right Now by Free. What is yours?
That's a really tough one in the car. Yeah, I would have to say anything by the Four Horsemen.
Okay.
Any of their tunes by the Four Horsemen.
Don't say Sister Golden Hair, by the way.
No.
I'm talking about a rock and roll song.
Something
Like
that puts
I said,
something that
it's
puts your
hard.
foot down. Yeah.
I mean, for me,
The problem with you is you love so much.
Well, that's it. It for me, it's
it's all over. And I mean, for me, it's unless I'm not key to the song that's on at the moment. I'm usually in my Sirius radio. If I'm not listening to our stuff on occasion, I'm listening to the 70s, and and then I'll change it around if. But it's hard.
Yeah. Oh, I've got so many that the list
How
is
long do you
endless.
have?
I know.
Tons of AC/DC tunes, Van Halen
Where
tunes.
do I start?
I hear Unchained by Van Halen, and it's just a crank it, windows down, foot to the floor.
Money for Nothing by Dire Straits.
Again, another one that just...
And Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight.
Yeah.
Mine's all psychedelic era.
You must do the drum on Phil Collins.
No, I'm a drummer.
No, but I'm saying when it comes out of the car.
Real drummers don't do that.
Real
Air drummers.
I do it. I'm an air drummer. I do it.
Air drummers do that.
DJs, radio DJs do.
I do it on the steering wheel.
I might do it with my fingers, but I'm not.
Well, yeah. No,
You know,
well, I
it's-
hope not.
It's It's just, again, it's an iconic drum line, like it's an iconic drum fill. But yeah, Prince, 1984.
Yeah, he stars in the film Purple Rain, a movie in which he plays an upstart musician who clashes with his band, parallels his life story, but is not strictly autobiographical, and he didn't write it or direct it. Purple Rain is the first of 4 Prince movies, followed by Under the Cherry Moon, Sign of the Times, and Graffiti Bridge, all of which he directed. So he really got into the movies in the later 80s.
Such a talented guy.
Oh, he's amazing.
You know, and just an unfortunate loss at a young age. And, you know, the amount of people he wrote for was incredible, the amount of people he wrote for. A lot of songs out there you listen and you don't know Prince wrote them. So the guy was just a super talented man, and it was just unfortunate, you know.
If you take a guy like Prince and you can put him up against a guy like Michael Jackson, I mean, he was that big.
Absolutely.
He was that.
He even wrote some of Michael's songs.
And you know, he was iconic.
Yeah.
And when he died,
he was a producer. You know, like Sheena E. Many musicians like that, he produced their albums and co-wrote on them and engineered them. Like, the guy was just silly, crazy talented. And
remember the old dial-up computers where you used to remember Napster?
Oh God,
when was the last time you heard about Napster?
I used to use it.
Probably in the movie The Italian Job, because the one guy in there claims to be the originator of Napster. But 2000, file sharing service Napster is ordered by a U.S. federal judge to cease trading copyright music files in the next 48 hours. And, you know, he just, boom, shut them down right away. Metallica had a lot to do with that. I do remember that, because they were the ones that actually brought it to court, because this guy was just dumping out free music, you know, to everybody. Didn't have to go buy the album.
It used to take like, 3.5 days to download one 2-minute song at one time.
Yeah. Oh God.
I mean, my bit rate was so low, and
mine wasn't. I was on it.
Yeah. Were ya?
I'll never forget when I went on it and hadn't heard this yet.
But I had a lot of this stuff on vinyl
it.
already. Yeah, you know, but
it was shut down.
Yeah, it was, and
I remember the
it's
day.
hard to believe that's 22 years ago.
I know, right?
God, it seems like yesterday to me. You know,
the 2000s have just gone way too fast.
Absolutely. And in 2006, the final edition of Top of the Pops was recorded at BBC Television Centre in London. Just over or under 200 members of the public were in the audience for the show, which was co-hosted by veteran disc jockey Sir Jimmy Savile. He's the guy that, well, we won't get into that right now. And of course, he was the very first presenter at that time of the show. Classic performances from the Spice Girls, Wham!, Madonna, Beyonce Knowles. Robbie Williams featured the show alongside the Rolling Stones, who were the very first band to appear on Top of the Pops New Year's Day in 1964. Right. It seemed when that calendar ticked over from January the 1st, or December 31st, 63 to January the 1st, it just changed the world completely. When the Beatles and the British invasion came in here, the whole attitude of music changed.
Yeah.
It was cool to be a little bit rebellish, but I guess it was in the 50s too with James Dean, but to a higher degree.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis, yeah, there you go. But I mean, don't get me wrong, the 50s and early 60s had rock and roll. It was just starting to wane.
Well, I think it wasn't just that. You had the Brits coming over here hearing American rock and roll, and you had Americans going over there and hearing British rock and roll.
Yeah.
And
British invasion.
And it was you know, there was check that check this out. And as a musician, I'd be in like, I got to go to every pub, see every band play, because I want to hear what they're doing, right?
I can't. Well, there was a time when I went every weekend. To the psychedelic era.
Yeah.
And down to Toronto.
2010. It's an interesting one, actually. John Fogerty performs center field at the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, where he donates a guitar shaped like a baseball bat The instrument looks like it looked like it was weathered, but because it was damaged in Nashville flood 2 months earlier, that destroyed many of Fogerty's guitars. The back guitar, named Slugger because it designed to look like a Louisville Slugger, was the only one Fogerty did have restored. The ceremony coincides with the 25th anniversary of the song, the title track to Fogerty's first album since 1975, when he entered a legal battle with his former label boss. The song is not just about baseball, but renewal and the idea of starting a new season. And iconic
That's a great song.
Iconic. Oh God, yeah. It's just, and such a great song. And after all the bullshit he had to go through with his legal team and stuff to get the rights back on the music, now he's out performing tons of CCR tunes, and it's
and that
great.
guitar.
Well, he was the
How
heart.
he played it. It was a baseball bat.
Yeah.
He was the heart and soul of Creedence Clearwater Revival. I mean,
Him and his brother, yeah.
yeah, his brother a little bit, but basically it was John.
Well, he was the front man, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that,
front
you
guy.
know, a lot of people forget that the back people are also part of that heart and soul as well. And when you got two brothers that play together, you look at Van Halen's another, the Allman Brothers another. There's a tightness there. There's that just, it's really
Yeah, you have so many nights up in your bedroom.
exactly,
just
you know,
practicing with
just
each other,
exactly. You start, you can play in the pocket all night long because of it, you know, and that's hard to find.
This week in 1987, this is all Leah's trivia, of course, and Leah works very hard on these trivia. And you got to remember, it takes a lot of time to dig all this stuff
Absolutely.
up. The movie La Bamba, a somewhat fictionalized biography of Latin rock star Richie Valens, opened in the United States. It's generally well received, especially the soundtrack by Los Lobos, and that was a great soundtrack.
Oh God, yeah.
No doubt about
Dynamite.
it. Lou Diamond Phillips stars as Richie, who of course died in the infamous plane crash that killed Buddy Holly in the Big Bopper. And Marshall Crenshaw appears as Buddy Holly. Brian Setzer
Yeah.
played Eddie Cochran.
Perfect
And,
casting there.
Absolutely, even
Yeah.
looks a little like
he
Eddie
looked
with
just,
that.
he had him, I swore it was. You know, like, to me, he looked exactly like Eddie
That's
Cochran.
one of the best. I saw the new Elvis movie. Wasn't impressed with it, by the way. Just before we get into that, but it's hard to make a movie about a rock star that I can slip into.
Yeah.
Because it turns out to being the thing I didn't like about the new Elvis, it's more of it was a biography more than a story. You know, it kept having Tom Hanks, and it was just. I don't know. I just couldn't get into the movie. Didn't have any flow to me.
I thought it was more about Colonel Tom Parker than it was about. Really
I'm an Elvis
story.
fan. I wanted to
seen
see
it,
it.
so-
Well,
I hadn't seen it, but just even what I've seen of it, like I've seen bits of it, and to me it seemed like it was more the story about Colonel Tom Parker than it was about Elvis.
I mean, the acting was great, and the guy who played Elvis was phenomenal. He looked like him, but it was just the story. I just kept. Where am I now? Where are we going now? You know,
Right.
I mean, and it was bouncing around too much for me. And a lot of people online think I'm an idiot. Oh, it was the best movie I've ever watched. Well, no, get a life. But this one, the reason I brought this up is that is one of the best movies I've ever seen about a rock star.
Yeah.
And I mean, you should see that movie, La Bamba. Have you seen that?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
Great
the
movie.
opening where they're playing Sleepwalk by Sano and Johnny, and the plane explodes in the air? Just goes right
Yeah,
through you,
just
man.
like you go.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you know
that's,
what really happened? It's not.
You
This
know.
isn't fiction.
and you got to remember these guys. So when that happened in February
they
of
were huge,
1959,
man.
these
Huge.
guys were huge.
Buddy
Holly alone,
Holly was
was-
crazy huge.
and Richie and the Big Bopper was a DJ who worked in Beaumont, Texas, as
Hello,
a radio announcer. Hello, baby.
everybody.
And he made a
It's
record.
the Big
and went to
Bopper.
church. You know what I mean?
He was the one that kind of started that voice, that that hello everybody, you know that
I
kind
mean,
of
he had
announcer
a great
voice.
set of pipes on him. I'm a Big Bopper, and no one can say "Hello, baby" like him.
No.
I mean, there's just
Hello,
no way.
baby, that's what I like.
All right, the biggest flop in movies.
Yeah, well, especially
an awful movie.
for a band of this nature and to have a flop. July 4th, 1978, the film Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band opens in America, and it tanks hard. Savaged by the critics, it became a legendary Hollywood flop despite appearances by Peter Frampton, Billy Preston, Aerosmith, and the Bee Gees.
Yeah, they're all in it.
In addition to the host of musical stars, the film boasts Beatles producer George Martin as its musical director and also features established screen actors like George Burns, Steve Martin, and Donald Pleasance. None of it helped
none of it.
Little bit.
It was just the whole thing again. It was a mishmash.
It was terribly directed. It was terribly edited. Like, it was just so many bad mistakes.
I remember I went to see it, and I sat there, and I thought, I ain't leaving because I'm getting my money out of this. You know. And then I thought to myself, I just wasted 2 hours of my life.
Yeah.
Yellow
Not the
Submarine.
money.
Yeah.
Not the money.
another
Oh,
one.
come on, the Blue Meanies.
Yeah, that's just
There's pieces.
that's just 2 hours of my life I'm not getting back.
Pieces. That's it for Yellow Submarine. 'Cause
My
I think that didn't turn me on either.
favorite Beatle movie has to be Hard Day's Night. Just it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Just a timepiece, and Wilford Brimley, who played Steptoe, was Paul's grandfather in that movie on the
I
train.
didn't know that.
Remember?
But I know
Wilford
Sanford-
Brimley.
Sanford-
Mr.
Sanford-
Diabetes. Mr. Diabetes. That's how I
The,
remember Wilford.
No, it's
You got diabetes?
no. You're thinking about. I'm talking about Steptoe. The guy played Steptoe and Son in England. His name was Wilford Brimley, and he was the one that the show Sanford and Son was spawned from.
Oh, okay.
Just like All in the Family.
Okay. Oh, I knew
just like All in
Sanford and Son, but-
just like All in the Family spawned from Till Death Us Do Part, which was a British
Yeah.
comedy.
Most of the shows were
Warren Mitchell
spawned
played.
from British shows,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
absolutely.
British
absolutely.
invasion?
Just finishing back with this story, the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club band is the brainchild of the Bee Gees manager Robert Stigwood, and is an update of his 74 stage production. He hopes to follow the success with Saturday Night Fever and make a movie stars out of his clients, but fails in spectacular fashion. And that was talk about flop of flops. My God, it was and
That's the Plan 9 from outer space of the rock music genre.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
awful. Just terrible. This week in 1963, this is really cool. Canadian high school student Neil Young and his band, the Squires, visited a Winnipeg studio to record their first single, a surf instrumental called The Sultan.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to go home and look for that song, see if I can find it, and we'll get it on. The Sultan, I've never heard it.
No,
but I'd
I've
like
never
to.
heard the name or anything. Like even
1963, I mean, you got to remember, Neil Young has been around for a long time
God,
now,
yeah.
man.
Gotcha.
And
He's 79, I think,
Yeah.
now.
Didn't Joni Mitchell go on stage and do something last week? Or
Yeah,
something? I heard?
she went on for it was a Newport festival, and it was their 30th anniversary, and
nice
they
to see
managed
her
to Belinda Carlisle got her out, and I guess they become good friends over the years. And she got out. She actually sang. They were only thinking she was going to come out and sit,
Yeah.
but she actually wanted to sing. She started singing, and she's had a stroke and all of that, so she was pretty frail. There was a video online about it. It was really cool to watch, though. It was very cool.
Something
so.
magical about her music. I don't know quite what it is.
And again, another writer that wrote for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
She was one of those people in the background that did a lot of writing, and like Carole King, same thing. We've had a lot of people that write these songs, and people think, oh, it's the artist singing it. Nope, they got handed it, and it turned into a hit, and now you're a big mega money person, and
She wrote Woodstock.
Yep.
She wrote
And
that. and-
Nazareth, This Flight Tonight.
Yes.
She wrote that.
I had no idea she wrote that song until a few years ago.
Yeah.
And because I grew up in England in the early 70s, and I used to listen to it on the British radio, and I thought, wow, what a great song. But I never tied it in with Joni Mitchell. But she has a slower version. She
Oh
covers
yeah,
it,
she's
in
she's
the
a
Joni
folk,
way.
She's a folk artist.
Yeah,
right?
she's a folk artist. It's a little bit slower, but she has written so many wonderful songs.
Oh God, yeah.
And
So-
songs that you've never even probably heard from her albums. You should dig out her old albums and put them on. And listen to the creativity in this woman. She's incredible. A Saskatchewan gal.
And Canadian. I was
Right
just
on.
going to say, and Canadian, eh?
Right on. Now,
So-
of course, we're brought to you by DestinationOntario.com.
Absolutely.
And they are the worldwide
Source.
window for Canadian tourism for Ontario. And there's so many places in Ontario, like, for instance, Sudbury, You know, you don't think about vacations when you go to Sudbury, but the
Big Nickel.
The Big Nickel. There's so many things up there you can do. And no matter where you go in Canada, there's always great countryside.
Absolutely.
Either mountains or the bush, or you want to meet a giant black fly, go to Northern Ontario. There's plenty of them there.
But giant black bears.
Northern Ontario really is so much different
when
Southern Ontario.
When you think of how
Rocky
big Algonquin Park is just on its own.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's pretty much the size of Banff.
And so many beautiful little towns. You go to Eastern Ontario, you got Smiths Falls and Perth, and you've got Tweed. All these beautiful little towns in Ontario, like Manitoulin, of course, where you can see. You look at the sky at night up there in the summertime, you can see forever.
Yeah.
There's so many stars.
Beautiful fall.
They actually had the Northern Lights about a week ago. That when you're up there, you could actually see them because it was clear.
There's a campground there outside of, I think it is outside of Gore Bay. There's a campground there, and they book up like a year ahead of time.
Yeah.
People booking because they know, because it happens every summer. Rare that you don't see them a few times, right?
Come visit Ontario, people.
DestinationOntario.com. How many minutes we got left? We got time to talk about our radio, or we got to shut up?
We're almost at.
Oh, it's
32.
32.
Over 31
It's 32 minutes past the hour, folks, as you started this video. And we'd like to thank everyone out there for the numbers going up a little bit here. Especially in the summertime, because a lot of people don't want to be on social media.
They're taking us away with them.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about the internet, is you can take us wherever you go.
Anywhere in the world. And, we are Air Radio News. We can be heard across all of our stations. So the Radio GTA, FM 108. And, of course, Halton Hills Online, our local community radio station that we do. And
we are building our websites. We're going to start with our local radio website first. Allison Meeks as our webmaster, and we're glad to have her on board. So we're going to take that a stage at a time so we can do it properly and go over everything.
You can still catch us online as we speak. And FM108.ca, Radio GTA is another one. Mainstream kind of, music on that one, FM108.ca. We stick with the 50s, 60s, 70s. And
when you go into FM108.ca, it's like you go
back in time.
If you want to escape from reality, go, our stations, we don't only play the music. I'm into sounds like you are, because you're a cartoon voicer and I'm a radio guy.
I am not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
I don't know what he's talking about.
But anyway, what was I talking about there?
See? He doesn't know what he's talking about.
He hasn't got a clue.
No, we enjoy what we do, and we try to bring, we try to bring something new to you every day, because mainstream radio, you and I were talking off air, how just crappy it's gotten. It's just gotten to the point.
And it's not the fault of the people working there. It's the people that run the place.
Absolutely. It's programmers and the higher ups that are making decisions that I just think are,
Yeah, not only that. It's not only
a lot of those owners own the CRTC.
It's the guys in the suits that don't know anything about radio that sit there and decide what the people that know about radio will do, and But that's a soapbox for another show.
Another show, absolutely.
And we've got Don Cherry, of course.
Minutes, so I'm thinking we don't want to get into it just now.
That's opening a whole can of worms.
We have Don Cherry across all three of our stations, so highly recommend to check it out. He's doing his podcast on our stations. We're the only ones.
Don Cherry hasn't gone anywhere. We brought him back.
We're the only ones in Canada carrying Don, so check it out. And I think that's been a big part of our numbers too, as well.
Oh, the numbers have gone through the roof on the radio.
It's been amazing.
Sure, because of Don Cherry. And not only that, our programming is good, but bringing a Canadian legend like that was silenced so wrongly.
Love to have you, Don.
Back to radio and back to media where he belongs, because he's a classy guy, isn't he?
Oh God, yeah.
You gotta love Don Cherry.
Always loved him.
Another one of those people. It's just.
He's one of those people.
He's an icon. He's an icon. I would say that.
I said the word, so he's one of those people.
Those people, yeah.
That was what got him.
Yeah. Anyway, from downtown New York here, as you can hear from the background there, all the
sirens going off.
This is Acton, Ontario, Canada, by the way, not New York City.
So, Big Daddy Russ Horton, I'm Lee Lakin, Leah Lylewood. We want to thank you guys for tuning in every week, man. We love it, and the numbers are going up. And we're glad you enjoy it, and we'd love to hear from you if you want some
It's just
suggestions and stuff or
It's
whatever.
just 30, 35 minutes of what happened this week and just shooting the shit,
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much.
Laid back. The radio show is now a video show, and we're brought to you from Halton Hills, Ontario, Canada.
Lee's Garage.
Which is Lee's Garage, and we are Canada's hometown in Halton Hills, Ontario. So we wanted everyone to know that. And
now I get to go ready for my gig.
now you gotta you gotta have a shower first.
Oh, I got it.
That's what that smell is.
The three
I
S's.
didn't want to say anything. You noticed it too, did you?
Okay, that makes sense now.
All right. Just kidding, folks.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll catch you next week.
Pardon me.
I'm going to save that till the end.
I'm gonna eat some of these mallows before Leah Lywood attacks. Look at how much she's had in that bag there.